first heat of the first round of the women's 100 metres hurdles. The only action tonight that's not a final. These women, the successful women, will go through to tomorrow's semi-final. And it's the first three in each heat and the three fastest losers who do advance to the semi-finals. So we're looking at Valette of France. Yes, sorry, just a slight confusion there. Wojtnik of Poland. So in case you're looking at the European Athletics website, www.european-athletics, just that'll give you the most up-to-date information. We're looking at the start list, but I think there's been a bit of a redraw of the heat. So from the inside is Tomipic Prejile of Slovenia, Valette of France, Kristofi of Cyprus, Plotatsina, the very good Ukrainian, in lane 4. Jessica Hunter, Great Britain, 5. Bogliolos of Italy, 6. Giranova of Italy, 7. And Wojtnik in lane 8 of Poland. And it's the Pole who's away quick as well. Also Hunter at this stage and Valette running well. Now Valette really starting to motor. The Frenchwoman in lane 3, lane 2 doing well. Jessica Hunter gets up on her shoulder. The Briton just takes the verdict, I think, coming off very quick over those final 2 hurdles. No doubt at all. Hunter. So Hunter, this is her first really major international competition. 13.27 for her, just a little bit off her best of 13.12 set earlier this year. She'll advance to the semi-finals tomorrow evening. Laura Valette, the Frenchwoman, 13.30. Well, she's run under 13 seconds this year. She might be a little bit disappointed with that, but she gets through without too many problems to the semi-finals. And third, it'll be Wojtnik of Poland. Wojtnik running on the outside. The others probably really didn't see her. She ran much of a solo race. Giranova and Kristofi and Plotatsina. We'll have to wait and see whether they go through as one of the 3 fastest non-automatic qualifiers.
Yeah, good performance there from Hunter to come through, kind of building her momentum throughout that race. New lifetime best this year of 13.12 in Geneva. An athlete certainly growing in confidence, being coached by Scott Grace. Valette, though, look at her, our early leader. Interesting to compare their styles just coming through. And Valette, it was incredibly close. 300s between them. Of course, not unaccustomed to seeing that in sprint hurdles races. And Wojtnik taking that 3rd spot. And then 3 time qualifiers across all of those semi-finals. So interesting, this sprint hurdles competition starting quite late, obviously, the penultimate evening session. And the competition will step up when we get to the next round. Said
Tom.
Second heat of the women's 100-metre hurdles. Looks like an empty lane 1 down there. Starting from lane 2 is Monika Zapalska of Germany. She's going to take a nice smile and a nice wave for the home crowd. Second at the German National Championships this year. It's a lovely roar. Nicola Massetti of Italy is next. And now Anne Zagre of Belgium. I do think this might be what's confused the order. She wasn't on our original start list for this opening round, and they've redrawn it to include Zagre, which is confusing because I think she's well into the top 12 athletes and could have had a bye through to this round. We'll have to try and figure out what's gone on there. Mathilde Heltbeck for Denmark is next. She made the semi-final at the World Indoor Championships. Elisabeth Prasidou of Greece is in lane 6. She's gone underneath 13 seconds, but not this season yet. In lane 7 is Maika Chinalim. She's very close to that 13-second mark this season. And completing the lineup in lane 8 is Anja Lukic of Serbia. So the fastest on paper by some margin is Zagra in lane 4. Holtbeck, a pair of good Danish high hurdlers. We'll see Mette Gravesgaard in the next round. I'm confused about Zagreb being here, though. She's ranked high enough to skip this round. I can only assume perhaps she's short on races and she's asked to be involved here in round 1, but it's caused a redraw. First 3 advancing to tomorrow's semi-finals. Zagreb hits the first hurdle hard and she's first. It's often a race, that first hurdle, and then you've got to hold that momentum, hold that technique. Zagreb, devastated at the World Championships, fell over in her heat, was given the chance to rerun because she was impeded by an athlete next to her, reran and then still fell over. It was a torrid time for the Flemish athlete out in Oregon, and that's a bit better. Maybe that's got something to do with why she's here in this round. Good second for Maika Chinalim.
Yeah, I think a good performance from Anne Zagreb would be very popular at these championships, given what happened to the Europeans, as you said. Yeah, joint 5th on the European list this year. I'm going to have a look on social media to see if I can see any reason why she might take part in this opening round, but would be good for race sharpness, certainly. You do risk the possibility of crashing out.
I think Prasidou thinks it's only top 2 into the next round. Or perhaps she's just not amused at all by 13.33. The Palska of Germany, 4th place, 13.39. That notches her into the 3 hot seats, along with Holtbeck and Musetti. So at the moment, 3 non-automatic qualifiers all coming from this round. We've still got one more heat to go in round 1. But Zagreb got a great start, as did the Greek athlete Prasidou. And Chinalim just got into her running throughout this race. But Zagreb, I can only assume, the last competition we saw her at in Oregon was just so problematic, and Zagreb may be saying, I really would like to run all 3 rounds. And that's an interesting dynamic, because so much talk about athletes getting advanced through the rounds. And it's very controversial. I think in a busy summer it's important. It's pretty much the only way our top European athletes can even consider competing here at the European Championships, and they're risking their health and their career through injury. But Prasidou, good run there for 3rd place.
Generation is coming through. Ruth of Norway there, someone who has won a 400 hurdles title at under 20 level, and is also someone with a multi-events background as a heptathlete. A full lineup: Victoria Rausch, we just missed on the inside in lane 1, one of 4 athletes from Luxembourg in this competition. The only one to progress was Patricia van der Weken, who was in the 100-metre semi-finals. Bob Bertem's Charles Grethen did not go through their heats. Then Dilat Sado, Benach of Spain, Forster of Slovakia, Sparen of Switzerland, Lončarek of Croatia, Ruth of Norway, and Barbosa of Portugal. Wonderful name, Olympia Barbosa, inside this Olympiastadion in Munich. Well, straight away the recall gun goes. I had my eyes on Benach and Forster. There was a bit of movement. Whether it will be judged to be before the start or indeed a false start, we'll wait and see, because there have been a number of issues across these championships.
I was talking to Chris Cohen, see the head official over on the side, at lunch yesterday, and we were asking him, is there anything particularly going on? I think it was Andrea Ruth there of Norway. There's Chris on our screens now. He said he's had more screen time than he's ever had before. He's had media requests for interviews, and they have looked and re-looked at the equipment. And Andrea Roth just using a bit of experience there to suggest that there was crowd noise. And unfortunately, the officials not accepting that explanation from Andrea Ruth, but Chris Cohen saying they've checked the equipment once, they've checked it twice, they've looked at absolutely everything. They've tried to look whether it's athletes that are tired, if they've done multiple rounds, an additional round here, whether it's athletes that have done a lot through the season. And Chris Cohen, one of the head officials here, just saying that there really is no pattern to it, but they're very confident in the equipment and their decisions.
Yeah, so we've shown the false start being given. And yeah, my assumption is they are sticking with that, or have they then decided that her protest is fair given the crowd noise? She's gone back into her starting position. The athlete is allowed to run under protest. I heard him say that there's a fault with the equipment also. So good to see. Roth's young athlete, might have been so upsetting for her to be out of this heat. She has the opportunity to run under protest. So certainly some flexibility within applying those rules. Rausch, Di Lozado, Benac, Forster, Zverin, Lončarek, Ruth and Barbosa. So this time we do get underway. Good start for Forster with the sleeves for Slovakia. Benac in the red of Spain alongside her. Zverin starting to come through. Barbosa in the green of Portugal. It's going to be Di Lozado who takes it in the end. That was a race that chopped and changed. 13:11 on that clock. So I make that the fastest time that we've seen so far, if that's what it's given as officially. Just 100 better than Anne Zagre. So wait for the further positions to come up and work out who will go through to those semi-finals. Forster, delight for the Slovakian. And Benac is also through. And now those in the hot seats will wait and see whether their times are indeed good enough. But yeah, a race that ebbed and flowed, a number of changes of lead, but Di Lozado took it in the end.
Yes, Di Lozado looked very good there. She's an experienced international. She's raced at European Championships in the past, and she was only just outside the top 10 and getting a seed, so she was very much the favourite there. Slightly disappointing run from Barbosa, but Barbosa does get through to the semi-finals tomorrow night. There we can see Di Lozado going through a little pre-event routine. Not the best of starts from Di Lozado, but by hurdle 4, she's really starting to motor, and a great second half of the race from the Italian. Zverin just stutters there. Benac, she'll be pleased with that run as well.
So 6 athletes progress from this heat with Barbosa, Zverin and Rausch, who becomes the second out of the 4, the Luxembourg quartet, to make it through at these championships.
And Zverin next smashed the last hurdle, really struggled to stay on her feet. It was a weird race from the Swiss woman, slow start, it looked great, looked like she might take the win, and then clattered the last hurdle. I think that's almost a live reaction from the Swiss fans, but luckily Naomi Zverin advancing on time. Victoria Forster was brilliant at the World Junior Championships in Nairobi last year. Saw a lot of this emotion. I think she did the flat and the hurdles out there. Here advancing in the European Senior Championships.
Yeah, so these athletes will be joined by the likes of Nadine Visser, Luka Kochak, Sirena Samba Mayela, Pia Skrahowska in the semi-finals.
And of course Ditaje Majinga Kabunji's sister, Ditaje. And Ditaje now the Swiss #1 hurdler, having taken over from Zverin.
So there we have it, the athletes who will advance to the semi-finals of the women's 100-metre hurdles who took part in the heats. 13:40, good enough to progress for Claudia Wurtenek, who was third in that opening heat of 3.